ladies and gentlemen, then if we may, I think we'd better make a start, and when John comes up and over to him. Thank you all very much for attending. Sarah just reminded me outside that the record for a standards committee meeting was one I shared that was 3 minutes. It won't be that this morning, but we do have to finish in time for the next meeting to begin. So we have to be aware of the fact that there is another meeting following this at 10:45.
No, 10 o'clock for the
10 o'clock. Oh, even worse. So moving on. Apologies for absence.
Mike has got, and we're hoping John will join us.
Okay. Minutes of the meeting held on the 19th of July. May I take them as a correct record, please? Yes. Okay. Is any, are we for it?
Yes, we are.
Well, well, I'll second that then. Right, any matters arising from page 1? 2. Moving on to item 3, review of standing orders, report at item 3. This is going to be presented by.
Well, I think I'm just going to hand over to Carl. Is that all right, Carl, for you to introduce this one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll be a fairly brief item. I think you'll probably be glad to know. So, so we've made some fairly minor amendments overall to the standing orders. I mean, the biggest change was to section 32, which is about disciplinary action. Previously, that only dealt with the head of paid service, but it's been expanded to deal with the head of finance and the monitoring officer, which is reflective of law. Those 3 positions have different sort of protections. So that one's been updated in accordance with the 2001 regulations as amended. There have been some changes made to the standing orders relating to procurement procedures, just to reflect the fact that the UK has left the European Union, the post-Brexit changes. Other changes have been really fairly minor in detail in terms of filling in gaps in terms of like voting for the chair if there's an equality of votes between the final 2 candidates. It deals with, a tiebreaker situation. Just consistency with the members' code of conduct in a couple of places, and the issue that we had back at the annual general meeting where the standards committee wasn't quorate or was expected not to be quorate. We've just used the wording that's in 19.2 about the to give a little bit more flexibility to when that first meeting of the of any standing committee meets following the annual general meeting, to remove the requirement that it doesn't have to be on the day of the annual meeting. So that's sort of a whistle-stop tour of the changes. If there are any questions about any particular changes, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Carl. Any points? Others?
I might extend the meeting by a minute. I was just thinking that maybe we ought to record that should the shape of the authority change during our current or review of the authority, the standards committee ought to be prepared to make some further revision of standing orders to actually enable the authority's business to continue.
Indeed. I don't think anything will happen so quickly that we won't have enough time to be able to take that through.
But we should have that as an agenda item at some stage.
To be fair, I think thinking about the last 25, 30 years, it's been the case all of the time. Yeah. We live in a state of perpetual revolution. Any other questions? Points? No? As Carl says, they're all fairly straightforward things. 19.2 will get us over the issue that we had this year. So we're changing, and on the same day, for as soon as reasonably practicable, which will be the new phraseology for that,
Which could mean on the same day.
which could mean on the same day.
We would still aim to do that, if, you know, we are able to, but, it just gives us that flexibility so that if there is a problem, as we've experienced this year, that we have some flexibility as to where the main committees.
Yes. I mean, there was quite a lot of change this year in personnel and that will have had an impact. Next year is going to be exactly the same. So we have to be aware of the fact that it may quickly pop up again.
Yeah.
Chairman, the other point I just wanted to clarify was the appointment of the chairman and vice chair or chairperson.
Of which,
Of the authority.
Yes.
It discusses or it implies there would be a vote, but in the past we've had secret ballots. That could still carry on within this wording.
yes.
Yes, it's
Because it can look like a popularity contest and then people are afraid to vote. And so I think it's quite important that the chairman, vice chairman are elected by secret ballot.
yeah. Well, a secret ballot is just a method of voting, so
Yes.
that's fine.
We don't want to preclude that, that's all.
No, that's fine. It's not precluded by the current wording.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, if there are no other points, may I ask that we agree the proposed amendments of the standing orders and the school delegation so that they can be presented to the full authority for adoption, subject to any changes. If we agree any changes, that's fine. So we will present that to the authority as it currently stands.
Yes.
Yes, happy with that?
Me, yes.
Well, I'm looking at the two members. I only have you two to look at, because you're the only voting.
I'm very happy.
Yes,
Yeah.
happy? We're all happy. Right, thank you very much. That stands approved. So item 4 is financial regulations, and that is to consider the report of the Chief Finance Officer. Item 4. So, Gordon.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the first time in around 8 years, 7 or 8 years, that these have been re-looked at. So I thought it would be fine that these were refreshed, reminded people of the key points, and we use this as an opportunity as well, just to modernise some of the terminology and some of the job titles that are in there. So there's very little underlying change in terms of the principles. I mean, section 2.3 in the covering report does list the actual changes that have been taking place in terms of, and everything that has been stripped out is mentioned there as well. But fundamentally, it's very, very similar to what's in place previously, that was previously existing. It is an important part of the governance structure. It does detail the important roles and responsibilities of your authority and of the chief exec and of myself and other sort of key staff in terms of their legal responsibilities. But it also goes through the main financial processes, such as payments to employees and ordering goods and services in terms of good practice there and how they're underwritten. So if members are happy with the documents here, this will also go to authority to be formally approved.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nick,
Yes, no.
you happy? Everyone? Happy? I'm equally happy. Then no further questions. Can we formally agree that the proposed amendment should be presented to the full authority for adoption? Good, thank you very much. Is there any other business of urgency?
We've been notified of them.
In that case, I will bring the meeting to a conclusion. Thank you very much for joining us, Carl.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.